Imagine a web of hidden connections, a shadow war that's been simmering for decades, and now the very real fear of a nuclear crisis. Sounds like a spy novel, right? But this is the stark reality in the Middle East. Iran's complex strategy has Israel directly in its sights, and things have recently taken a dangerous turn. We're talking direct Israeli strikes on Iranian nuclear sites and Iran firing back with missiles in 2024 and 2025. This isn't just a shadow war anymore. It's something new and frankly much scarier. So what's behind all this? For years, Iran and Israel have been stuck in a fierce, often hidden, conflict. It's not always tanks and soldiers on a battlefield. Instead, think secret ops, cyber warfare, and most importantly, a network of proxy groups. Ever since its 1979 Islamic Revolution, Iran has been trying to spread its influence and take on its rivals, especially Israel. By using allied militias and pushing forward with its nuclear program, Iran has turned the whole region into a powder keg. Figuring out this secret web is crucial if we want to understand why the Middle East, and maybe even the world, is on such shaky ground. And these recent direct clashes, they're a big shift from the quiet, simmering conflict we've seen for so long. How exactly does Iran do this? Well, its main tactic against Israel and for showing its strength is through what it calls the axis of resistance. This is basically a network of groups, some government-backed, some not. Since Iran can't, or maybe doesn't want to, fight a big, direct war, it arms, trains, and bankrolls these groups all over the Middle East. You've probably heard of Hezbollah in Lebanon. They're a major force right on Israel's northern border and have been involved in many clashes, like the 2006 war. Then you have Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad in the Palestinian territories, who are constantly in conflict with Israel. And it doesn't stop there. Shiite militias in Iraq and Syria, plus the Houthi rebels in Yemen, all help extend Iran's reach. It's like they're trying to create a ring of fire around their enemies. These proxies are Iran's way of fighting back, but they also act as a buffer, shielding Iran itself from direct hits. But it's worth noting that recent events like big Israeli counterattacks and the fall of Assad in Syria seem to have hit some of these proxy forces hard, possibly making Iran a bit less insulated. At the same time Iran is using these proxies, there's another huge worry: its nuclear program. This has been setting off alarm bells worldwide, especially in Israel, which sees a nuclear Iran as a threat to its very existence. Iran's nuclear goals aren't new. They go back decades, but things really ramped up and got more secretive after the 1980s. Research highlight: Iran keeps saying its program is just for peaceful energy, but it's been enriching uranium to 60%. That's way higher than what's needed for power plants and dangerously close to what you need for a bomb. The International Atomic Energy Agency, IAEA, has pointed out that Iran has enough material for several nuclear weapons if it decides to enrich it further. This whole situation has led to sanctions, diplomatic deals like the JCPOA, you might remember it as the Iran nuclear deal, and now even direct Israeli military strikes on Iranian nuclear sites in June 2025. These strikes hit facilities like Natanz and Fordo, and nuclear scientists were targeted. Israel is hoping this will stop Iran's nuclear progress, but some experts worry it could backfire, pushing Tehran to go all in on developing weapons. Iran has even hinted it might rethink its religious ban on nuclear weapons and could pull out of the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty. That's the big international agreement to stop the spread of nukes. So, these proxy wars in the nuclear program aren't separate problems. They're two sides of the same coin, part of one big strategy. The proxies keep up a constant pressure with smaller to medium-sized conflicts that wear down Israel's resources and create chaos on its borders. The nuclear program? That's like a potential future insurance policy for Iran. The big worry is that if Iran gets the bomb, it might feel untouchable and use its proxies even more aggressively, thinking no one would dare hit back hard. And we've seen this play out recently in a big way. After Iranian commanders were killed and its proxies were hit, Iran fired missiles directly at Israel. Israel then hit back by targeting Iran's nuclear infrastructure. This back and forth is incredibly risky. It's like the whole region is a powder keg, and one wrong move could set it all off. With some of its proxies weakened by Israeli actions and big changes like Assad falling in Syria, Iran itself might be feeling more exposed. That could push them towards even riskier or more direct actions. If this is making sense and you want to keep up with our analyses on these critical global issues, definitely hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss out. But this isn't just about Iran and Israel. This shadow war, or perhaps we should say not so shadowy war anymore, has huge ripple effects across the region and the globe. Think about other major players in the Middle East, like Saudi Arabia. They're watching all of this nervously, especially since they've also been targeted by Iranian-backed groups like the Houthis. And then there are the global giants, the United States, Russia, and China. They all have massive interests in the Middle East, whether it's oil, gas, or strategic positioning. Research Highlight 7. The U.S., being a close ally of Israel, has been trying to deal with both Iran's proxies and its nuclear ambitions, sometimes talking, sometimes pushing back hard. These direct clashes between Israel and Iran, especially the attacks on nuclear sites, are really testing international diplomacy and bring up the scary possibility of a much bigger war that could pull in these world powers. So Iran's game plan, using proxy fighters while pushing its nuclear program, has been in motion for decades. The goal? To shake up the Middle East and go head-to-head with Israel. But the events of 2024 and 2025, with direct attacks and hits on nuclear facilities, have really upped the ante. Iran's proxy network might have taken some hits, and its nuclear program might be damaged, but the core issues and Iran's ambitions haven't gone away. The Middle East is now in a really precarious spot. Conflicts are flaring up easily, and there's hardly any unified diplomatic effort to calm things down. What happens next? Will we see things escalate further? Will Iran make a desperate push for a nuclear bomb as a deterrent? Or will we stumble into some kind of new shaky balance of power? Honestly, it's dangerously unclear. What do you think is the scariest part of this whole situation? Drop your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear them. And if you found this breakdown helpful, please give the video a like.